Sweet dreams are made of these. Jesse, Emma, and Willem, those three. Margaret Qualley and M. Athy. Hung Chow Hunter, Schaefer, and others. Yorgos' Triptych. Isn't it wonderful? Kinds of Kindness was written and directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who did Killing of a Sacred Deer, The Favorite, and Poor Things. And Poor Things, one of my favorite movies of 2023. Magical, mystical, bloody, weird, very, very bizarre. How bizarre? Every time I looked around, we saw Emma Stone stumbling around and putting it in my face. And putting great cinematography in our faces was what Yorgos was able to do. Such a magical film. So great from every technical standpoint. Everything deserved every bit of accolades it got from the Oscars. But this isn't about Poor Things. This is about Kinds of Kindness, the follow-up to Poor Things. And boy, Yorgos decided basically he was just going to go balls to the wall with nutty behavior. He definitely has an eclectic way of making films, a very unique way of making films. Speaking of unique way of making films, well, let's talk about the fact that we have Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, we have Jesse Plemons, who has been on fire lately. What kind of American are you? We have Mamoudou Athie. I'm pretty certain I probably just totally butchered that. He has been good in a lot of stuff, and I always butcher his name. Margaret Qualley. Ever since seeing her in Sanctuary, she has just been great, and my God, she is a knockout. Good grief. And Hunter Schaefer. And I just want to say right now, recently discovering that Hunter Schaefer actually is a trans woman. If you have a problem with trans people, fuck the hell off. I just do not goddamn care if I piss people off. Trans women are women, trans men are men. Let's just roll on with that. So, this involves the intersecting and connective tissue of various people across 3 stories that have a bit of connection in the sense that everybody involved are just massively fucked up people. And speaking of fucked up, boy, Yorgos, I don't know what he went through in his life, and I don't exactly know what he was thinking with this, but he definitely went absolutely insane. And Emma Stone was great in this. You know, in all 3 roles. Jesse Plemons, to me, was the standout here. Now, I'm going to just, give a brief synopsis of these particular chapters. It is 3 chapters, and it is 2 hours and 44 minutes long, so get ready to sit down. If you thought Poor Things was too long, this is a bit longer than Poor Things. You do have Chapter 1, The Death of RMF, and it features basically a boss that is very, very overbearing to the point that he is absolutely, just getting every single detail, every bit of an employee's schedule down to the goddamn letter, down to when he, has sex, what he eats, him, styling his hair and all that. That's how domineering of a boss he is. And this particular employee is, he loves the lifestyle he has, but he wants to go on and maybe do something else. There are certain things he doesn't want to do, and then it gets fractured and everything. And then Chapter 2 is RMF is Flying. We have a couple reunited after the wife is found. And the wife, by the way, played by Emma Stone. And the husband, played by Jesse Plemons. And they end up getting reunited. But certain things aren't quite right. Certain behaviors have changed. Who could, really, or do you really know somebody after you haven't seen them for so goddamn long? How much would they have changed? And yeah, other stuff as well. How far would you be willing to go for the person you love? And Chapter 3 was RMF Eats a Sandwich. Pretty self-explanatory. We get to find out, and basically it has something to do with finding a certain person that can possibly, deal with somebody that met a tragic set of circus pants. Let's just say that. Chapter 3 is probably the one that's going to be the hardest to not spoil. So that's just what I'm going to say right there. Very bizarre. We have, it's like a spiritual group led by Willem Dafoe, and Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone are two of like the people that are part of this, searching for somebody that is going to lead them, I guess, to paradise of some variety, I guess. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Kinds of Kindness is very, very obtuse and strange, and I didn't think that every single mark was hit. I would say 75 to 80% of the marks were hit. There were some gut-bustingly hilarious moments, especially in the second act. There were some great interactions between Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. And even the first act had some good stuff. Even if I thought there were a few points where I was like, okay, we could have cut this, we could have cut this. This movie, honestly, probably should have been about 20 to 30 minutes shorter. Even though I appreciate what Yorgos did, there were some moments where I was like, okay, we could have cut this scene down a little bit. we could have done this. And he'll make his films the way he wants. I respect that, but still, probably could have shot some stuff down, or chopped some stuff down. Great cinematography, though. And Hunter Schafer, I didn't realize, actually, until upon, checking out what she has done in the past, that she was in the Hunger Games prequel, and I was like, oh, that's where I recognize her from, because I couldn't place it. She's also in Cuckoo, coming out soon, that I'm looking forward to, because it's from Neon Studios. So yeah, from there, basically, it's Triptych. If you know what a Triptych is, that's Triptych. Look it up. It all makes sense, kind of, even if, certain pieces of the story don't seem like they fit, and even if certain things don't quite mesh. Enough of this does, especially the performances. Even if some stuff is bizarre, yeah, maybe it is a bit self-serving. Yorgos might be trying to turn people off their lunch at some points, literally, with some of the stuff going on. There is some LGBTQ stuff, so if that offends you, well, too fucking bad, because gay people have been here for a goddamn while, been here since the beginning of time, and if that upsets you, well, then you have a fucking problem, and you probably need to pull your head out of your ass. That being said, Margaret Qualley does great in here as well. She looks incredible. Good grief, she looks incredible. An absolute, just great dramatic actress, very funny, very beautiful. Could she slap me like that next? I didn't mean to say that, but it's on tape or on the internet, whatever you want to say. And yeah, just very bizarre. Every time I look around, there was strange stuff being thrown in my goddamn face. It was very, very, very strange. It's in theaters if you want to check it out. It's certainly worth it. I wouldn't be surprised if some people walk out. 5 people walked out of the showing I was in. Maybe they had somewhere else to go. Maybe they weren't enjoying it. I really thought it kicked into gear by the time we finished the first act and into some of the second act. It may have stumbled a little bit in the third act, because I think it was starting to test the patience of various people. And maybe the third act, again, maybe every single act could have been cut down even by about 5 to 10 minutes, and it would have been better. That being said, it's still worth checking out. So I'm going to get a spoiler. So there you go. Great cinematography, great acting. Even through some of the bizarre parts. And also, it started with Sweet Dreams by Annie Lennox. So guess what? Yeah, it's going to get a pretty high rating. How high of a rating is it going to get? Well, you'll have to wait until the spoiler section, which usually is in the last like 30 or so seconds that I reveal the grade. I do want to say, though, quick plug, thank you guys for checking out my Letterboxd account. People hounded me about getting it. As big of a movie fan as I am, I'm glad I finally decided to check it out. So yeah, Letterboxd is worth getting if you want to. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, yeah, basically the dynamic of Chapter 1 has to do with the boss. You have Raymond, played by Willem Dafoe, who wants Robert, Jesse Plemons, to cause an accident with somebody that had picked up an envelope recently from Raymond's house that Margaret Qualley handed him, answering in a very small rope. I'm sorry that she just, like, good God. The first time I saw it, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, Margaret. Good grief, you look great. Nevertheless, the idea is Robert is supposed to hit this particular person, make it look like an accident, and kill them. RMF is the person that, the scraggly-haired guy. I checked out his name on IMDb, and I don't think I could pronounce it, so that's why I'm not going to... I'm going to say the actor does a pretty good job, even though you don't really get to see much of him. But the idea is he didn't die. And Willem Dafoe has him regimented where he's going to do what he wants so he can have the best life. He doesn't even want to have kids. He dictates so much of his life. And Robert wants to get out of that. He's tired of what Raymond's doing, even though he respects him. But his wife wants to keep the life that she has and everything. And it seems like Robert's tired of being ignored when he wants something and taken advantage of for everything that he has. So Raymond wants him to do this accident again and make it look like a bad, kill the guy basically. Robert doesn't want to do that. Things spiral out of goddamn control. It gets really, really weird. There's also the implication of sexual stuff between him and Willem Dafoe. I think in all 3 acts, but especially in the first and third act, it was pretty goddamn bizarre there. And yeah, that's very, very strange right there. It's really, really very bizarre. So the spoiler section isn't really going to contain all that much because there's so much stuff being thrown at you in so many weird moments. Like he keeps trying to earn back his boss's trust and everything. And his boss is like, you know, you disappointed me, this kind of stuff. Finally, he is able to, he interacts with Rita, played by Emma Stone, who is somebody that he takes a fancy to. Is Emma Stone. I mean, how the fuck could you not take a fancy to? Look at her. Look at her. But she gets in an accident with somebody, and it turns out it's the guy that he was tasked to kill. So what he does is the ultimate act to finally get his, you know, boss's love back and his boss's appreciation back. He takes the guy, he knocks out a nurse, dresses up in his clothing that honestly was too big for him anyway. Maybe that was part of the gag. Gets this RMF guy, takes him out into the goddamn, you know, hotel, or not hotel, hospital lobby thing, or the parking garage thing where you spin around. A little like cul-de-sac deal, roundabout, that's what I'm trying to say. And he gets in his vehicle and runs him over a couple times. Then it turns out he did. He's like, I told you this boy would come through. And then we do mid-credit scene, or mid-credit, you know, credits, basically. We do midpoint credits, that's what I'm trying to say. And then we go to Chapter 2, RMF is flying, and that's where Emma Stone was a pilot, flying, and she ended up having a crash in the military, disappeared for a while, and Emma Stone played Liz, and Daniel is played by Jesse Plemons. So now he's a cop. He's dealing with some stuff. He's dealing with the fact that he took time off because his wife is missing and presumed dead, but that's okay. He's doing what he can. He keeps getting weird calls from somebody that it's all garbled, it's all staticky, but it sounds like somebody's underwater. Like, what the hell's going on here? And then suddenly his wife shows back up. But the thing is through flashbacks and through stuff, finding out that this may not be his wife. That's what he suspects. Now, could be true, could not be. He could have moved on from the fact that he already knew that he had moved on from the fact, like, okay, I presume my wife is dead, like Castaway, which was a movie that was certainly a choice. Upon rewatching it, I don't think it's all that great. That being said, we get Emma Stone playing great as Liz, who she is, you know, she eats chocolate, and before she didn't eat chocolate. And then there was stuff where, before she came back, Daniel wanted to watch something between, it was Margaret Qualley, and Emma Thie's character. I'm saying that because I'm going to screw up his first name. But, where I guess they did couples sex scene and stuff like that. And there was even a fight video. That was actually pretty funny. That just the reaction of the theater. And just the fact that they go, oh, okay, we're just going full on with this. His wife comes back, but it's not his wife. He even says to Hung Chau, or Chow, however you say it, C-H-A-U. If I mispronounce that, I do apologize. She has her husband come back, but maybe it's not him. And maybe Daniel's playing this in his own goddamn head. Who the hell knows? He kind of has a falling out, a snapping with his wife. He ends up doing a routine traffic stop. Kind of snaps and shoots a guy in the hand, thinking that they took his cell phone. And then while the guy's trying to get his hand covered, Jesse Plemons just starts licking his hand like he's just going completely insane. Now, maybe he's had psych issues before. They give him some meds. They need to up the meds. His wife is willing to do anything to prove her love. He says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to cut your thumb off and feed it to me. Also, they have a black cat. The cat's fine. Don't worry. Beautiful kitty. Beautiful black kitty. Seems so happy. And then at points of, like they weren't petting it. Pet the kitty. Don't ignore the kitty. Always pet the kitty. But his wife does that. And then he says, you know, because he wasn't eating all that much. And then a little bit later, after having an interaction with her father, played by Willem Dafoe, there's this idea that maybe it's an abusive relationship, and maybe, you know, maybe she is willing to do anything to prove her love to him. Maybe he's always been distant. We don't know a lot about some of these characters, because it's obvious this guy's fucked up, and maybe it's obvious she isn't who she says she is. Possibly. Maybe. And then he says, here's what I want. Cut off your leg or cut out your liver. That's what I want. And she cuts out her liver, and she's dead. And meanwhile, he's getting these calls from this person that's underwater or whatever the hell it is. And then suddenly his wife shows back up, so maybe she was a clone. Or maybe he overdosed on stuff and his wife's just back there. I don't really know, because it's just very bizarre, but it's definitely interesting. Chapter 3, RMF gets a sandwich. Basically, you have Andrew and Emily, Jesse and Emma, who are searching for somebody that has the ability to talk to the dead and raise this one particular corpse. The guy that was killed in the beginning of chapter 1. So maybe that's how they all interact and interconnect. Hunter Schafer makes a brief appearance here. I do have to say Hunter Schafer, I think, did a pretty good job here. I look forward to seeing her get more meaty roles. Because they advertised her as like being a big deal, and I think she was in this movie for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe? It was a long movie. And then we go to this cult where Willem Dafoe and Hong Chow are running things, and the idea is if you keep stuff within the system and you don't have, sex outside of the walls, then you can stay as long as you're purified. You do that, you break those rules, you got to go into the sauna and have stuff sweated out of you. And also there's this boat that's going to be for this, pure soul that can talk to the dead or raise the dead. The person that can do this, they can raise this person, is proof that they are the one, and we're going to have them here and doing all this cult stuff. Why? Because movie. Margaret Qualley plays 2 twin sisters as opposed to 3 twin sisters. That was kind of redundant right there. Margaret Qualley, once again, looking incredible. And then she talks about how she had a tough time when they were younger. She dove into a pool while drunk, but the pool was empty. She was lucky to be alive. And then at one point, I don't know what the fuck this was. There's something about one of these twins needs to be dead for the other to be able to raise this person. I don't quite get it. And there's this the other twin sister is a vet, so Emma finds a stray dog, cuts it. I don't know why they need to do that. I know it's for the purposes of the story, but could we have not seen that? Could we have cut away? I don't like seeing animal violence. Come on, Yorgos, come on. Dog's fine, though. I hope the dog got plenty of pets and treats for dealing with that shit. I know it actually didn't get cut, but work with me here. So she takes it to the vet, the twin sister, gives her some meds, this kind of stuff. She takes care of it for a bit and then lets it go. And I guess it just wanders back home or whatever. Hopefully it was fine and it didn't get infected. I'm just willing to bet that the dog got adopted and it was good. So the reason she was doing all this, by the way, is because she had a husband that drugged her and violated her basically against her will. And they have a daughter together. And she hasn't been with him for a bit. Probably because the guy did stuff like this. And then she gets kicked out because she can't get the stuff sweated out of her. So she does the thing with the dog. She does all this stuff. She drugs the sister that is remaining because the other sister called her over and then dove headfirst into the goddamn pool and died. Because that's the only way we can get the sister drugged and then taken and resurrecting this RMF guy who's so important. And then he eats a sandwich in the credits. You following me? I'm not following me. I really enjoyed the movie for the most part. I have issues with it, the aforementioned time needing to be cut, and some of the strangeness of it was, I think, strange for the sake of it. I'm giving it a B+ for the style, for the acting, for the cinematography. Is it going to be one of my favorite movies of the year? Probably not. But did I enjoy it? Yes, I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as Poor Things, but I enjoyed it for the most part. And I look forward to hearing what people have to say in the comments. If you saw this, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rentlin. I'll see you soon.